I really thought that there was no way that I was going to be able to recover. I was like, there's no way that I'm ever going to be able to come out of this. Like, I'm stuck here forever. And I really genuinely believe that.
Our daughter, Kaylynn, before addiction came into her life, was one of the most open, joyous people. She was considerate. She was kind. She was full of love for others, for animals, rescue dogs, and just involved. She was fully engaged.
I grew up very much in a very loving home, very supported, very nurturing. Internally, though, I first started struggling with my mental health around the age of 12 or 13. All throughout my adolescence and preteen and teenage years, I really struggled with depression and anxiety, and I just couldn't figure out how to make it better. My self-worth was just pretty much non-existent. In my teenage years, around 13, I started to become involved with some very abusive people, and that cycle continued on for a solid 10 years. I started with using weed, and then I started drinking really heavily. I was pretty much a full-blown alcoholic for about 3 years. Through all that, I still made it through with straight A's, and I was active in sports, and from the outside looking in, I really don't think anybody would have ever thought that I was struggling with the things that I was struggling with. Around 19 and 20 is when I got involved heavily in alcohol, when I was really unacknowledged to myself, but falling into an addictive pattern and an addictive cycle with the drinking. Drinking led to experimenting with a variety of different substances, ultimately ended up leading into using meth.
We didn't know when to intercede. We had always heard that you can't fix them, you can't save them, you can't make them get better. It has to be on their own. The most that we felt we could do at those times was to just be there and remind her again that we are always there and will be for her sobriety, but not for her addiction.
I didn't really accept that I was struggling with and or had a problem until I was evicted from my apartment. That was one of the first times that I really felt like, okay, maybe I'm struggling with something more here than that is out of my control. I feel like I hit rock bottom so many times. I couldn't really define what a rock bottom would be. There was a time that I had my dog and I was wrapped up in my coat and I was sleeping between two garages, or attempting to sleep between two garages, because I just didn't know what to do. All I knew was using. I hadn't felt an emotion in so long, and all of a sudden I started crying for the first time in years. I was in a house that you don't want to be in, and I was looking in the mirror. I didn't know who was looking back at me, and I just started crying. It was about a year after that moment. I was in a situation that night. I was afraid, genuinely afraid for my life. There was one night where I was actually reading the Bible, and something came over me that just said, I needed to get out of this now. I had substances available to use and put them down in that moment. I never had fully done that before. And that's how I knew that I was ready. My mom had always said that she would be there when I was ready to make that choice, My mom tried to be there for me for a long time, further than she needed to be throughout my addiction. And one of the last boundaries that she had set with me was, when you're ready to get help, I'll be there. And so I knew that I was ready, and I reached out to my mom, and thankfully my mom answered right away.
Picked up the phone. I said, Kaylynn, I said, what's going on? And she said, Mom, I'm in trouble. I need help, and I need to come home. I said, you are certainly welcome to come home, but no, the only reason that you are going to come home this time is to go into treatment.
Oddly enough, in that moment, I fell asleep. It was like I could sleep, and I had peace because I knew that it was all going to be over soon.
Got myself together and got over there. This is where it hit me. I had to say to myself, my daughter is an addict. She was sullen, her face. She had her complexion that is normally super healthy and vibrant, had sores, and she was emaciated. And I couldn't help myself. It probably wasn't the right thing to say. I said, Kaylynn, you look like shit. I called ShareHouse, and this is when I had to actually say it out loud to somebody I didn't know. I said, my 28-year-old daughter is a drug and alcohol addict, and she needs help.
When I arrived at ShareHouse, I was scared, anxious, but committed. I was just really I guess whatever is going to happen because this is where I need to be. I just decided that I made the decision. I wanted my life, but I wanted to rebuild my life. And it was so crazy to feel like I have a power again in the matter of my life, and that these drugs are not going to choose for me, and that people around me are not going to choose for me anymore. ShareHouse does a really good job of making sure that the people that are here want to be here and are working hard at saving their lives. Some of the biggest challenges that I faced in active treatment here are just wondering if I'll really be able to do it, and wondering if I'm gonna fail. It's such a blessing to be able to have a recovery team and a recovery center that takes into account your voice. A few things that I've gotten back, and some of the things that stand out above all, are just a safe roof over my head. I am not homeless anymore. I'm not worried about where I'm going to be sleeping anymore. With my relationship with my family and my mom, and we get to see each other and we talk to each other on the phone. And now my mom has a grandson that she gets to see at least once a week, and they're an active part of my life again.
The one thing that I wish that more people understood about addiction and recovery is the addict didn't do this to themselves. They don't want it. The family surroundings, whether you have a strong nuclear family, strong faith, doesn't matter.
Anybody who's watching this that is struggling and scared to ask for help, you're still worth it. And there's people out here who want to see you succeed. And you are lovable and accepted just the way that you are. You don't have to change for anyone, but please do for yourself.